All right.
Feels good, and I can have what I want, and I want joy, and I want peace. I love myself, forgive myself. Life feels good, and I can have what I want, and I want joy, and I want peace. Opportunity finds me, I create what I need. I'm open to suggestions, I accept success. I take responsibility. Abundance flows through me, and I prosper. I prosper. I prosper. I prosper. I prosper because I love myself. Life feels good, and I can have what I want, and I want joy, and I want peace. I love myself, I forgive myself. Feels good, and I can have what I want, and I want joy, and I want peace. Opportunity finds me, I create what I need. I'm open to suggestions, I accept success. I take responsibility. Abundance flows through me, and I prosper. You prosper. You prosper. I prosper because I love myself. And my life feels good, and I can have what I want, and I want joy, and I want peace, and I can have what I want.
Mighty companions, welcome to the Way of Mastery. Welcome to Facebook Live in the Way of Mastery. I am Earl Purdy, and I'm happy to be with you, mighty companions. It's you and me doing the Way of Mastery. It's you and me. It's you and me doing the Way of Mastery. It is you and me doing the Way of master, you and me, doing way of mastery, you and me, doing the way of mastery, you and me, doing the way of mastery. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Let's see, what I want to do next. Okay, that's good. I want to make sure I got my music queued up. And welcome, mighty companion. It's you and me. We're going to do the way of mastery. And I'm glad to be with you here live. And I'm glad to see my other mighty companions online. And don't forget to like the video, comment on the video, share the video. And most of all, since we're doing it live, let's feel each other and let's communicate with each other. I'm going to do the way of mastery, and the section I'm going to do tonight is called Desire is Everything. Desire is everything. Desire is everything. It's in part 1, the way of the heart, on page 44. Desire is everything. I'm in the way of the heart. I'm in lesson 4. And I'm doing desire is everything. Desire is everything. Desire is everything. That's interesting. Desire is everything actually spells die. Desire is everything. D-I-E. Die. You know, die. Die to everything that would limit you. You know, I am teaching what I most want to learn. And so I'm going to call my name and yours during this sharing so that we'll both come into attention and really hear what it's saying. So the name of it is Desire is Everything. Hello, every one of you. Hello, hello, hello. And just know I am aware of your comments as much as I can. So I'm seeing you. Desire is everything. Desire is everything. Desire is everything. On page 44 in the Way of Mastery, the Way of the Heart. Take a moment right now and let the body relax. Take a moment right now. Take a moment right now. Let your body relax. Let your body relax. Let your body relax. Imagine that you can move back and forth from being an actor in the play of your life to being the director and the producer of the play of your life. Okay, relax a minute, kind of relax. Imagine that you can move back and forth from being the actor. I am Earl Purdy, acting like I'm a body with mind called a human being. I'm an actor. You are an actor. So imagine that you can move back and forth from being the actor in the play of your life. You can also be the producer in the play of your life. You can also have the role of the director of the play of your life. Imagine that you're sitting in your studio. You're the actor, you're the producer, and you're the director of the play that's called your life. You are the actor, you are the director, and you are the producer of what you call the play of your life. Even if you say, I'm giving it up and I'm allowing God, the master designer, to be the director of my life, that's still what you are choosing to do. So you're still the director because you're saying, I want to give my life to God. I want to let God direct my life. I want to let God produce my life. And I even want God to come through this actor called Earl Purdy in this physical life. So you're sitting in your studio. It says you are editing the story of your life. You are looking at all the little clips of film of your life. Imagine that you're looking at the clips from the time you were born. You're looking at the clips of your life that are the time you went to kindergarten. You're looking at the clips of your life that's the time you first fell in love, the time you first decided to go to college. You're looking back over your life. You're the actor, you're the producer, you're the director. Imagine that you're in your studio and you're editing. And so you're looking at the first time you fell in love. You're looking at the first time you decided to go to a movie. You're looking at the first time you decided to take off to college. Or you're looking at the time you took on a job of a certain type or another job of a certain type. Imagine that you're looking back. You're the actor, you're the producer, you're the director of the play of your life. I want you to imagine that you're looking back at the different movie clips from this play that you call your life. And you're looking at different times in your life on these movie clips. The time you move to another physical location. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is this. What I'm going to ask you to do is look closely and see if it's not true that for every action you have ever done, for every decision you have ever made, after trying to analyze it all, is there not underneath it the energy of desire? Beneath you look back, you imagine that you can move from the role of being the actor in your life to the role of being the director and the producer. You're in your editing studio. You're putting together the play of your life. You're looking back at all the different things you've done in your life. You're looking at clips of all the different things you've done in your life. If you were to really be honest with yourself, wouldn't you say that the thing that was behind everything that you've ever done has been the energy of desire? Would you be willing to admit that everything that you've ever done, Earl, everything that you've ever done, mighty companion, you've done it because you had the desire to do it? Isn't it true that everything that you've ever done, you did it because you had the desire to? Isn't it true? Isn't it true that underneath everything you've ever done in your entire life, what was underneath that is you had the desire to do it? The truth is, you don't lift your body off your couch to go to the refrigerator unless you have a desire to eat. There's got to always be something that's calling you into an expression of action. There's always got to be something that's making you move. There's always got to be something that's making you get up and go. It's desire. Desire. No one enters into an intimate relationship without the energy of desire. You don't enter. Do you know that you do not enter into any kind of intimate relationship unless you desire to? For what two people have looked at each other and said, you know what, I don't feel any desire whatsoever, but let's get married. I don't feel any desire whatsoever, but let's have children. I don't have any desire whatsoever, but let's raise a family. What two people have ever wanted to do anything with each other unless they had the desire, the passion, the desire? So what is desire? What is desire? What is desire? What is desire? It says desire is that energy which brings forth all waves of creation. So desire is the energy that brings forth creation. And it brings that desire for creation out of the very depth of the ocean of creation within us. And yet, who among you have not felt conflicted about desire? Who among us has not felt some kind of conflict about desire? Who among you hasn't been taught that desire is evil? There's some of us that's been taught that desire is evil. Who among you hasn't been taught not to desire to be great? Who among you hasn't been taught that the desire for material comfort is some sort of a blot upon the spiritual path? Do you believe that material desires are bad? Have you ever been taught that material desires are bad? Have you ever been taught that physical desires are bad? Is there a part of you that believes that physical desire is bad? That somehow having physical desires are a blot on your spiritual path? I'm not really being spiritual if I have deep material desires. Have you been taught that you're not really being spiritual if you have deep physical desires? So I want you to look inside your soul. Right now, look inside your soul, Earl. Look inside your soul. Look inside your soul and see if what I'm saying isn't true. Isn't there a part of you that's been taught that desire is evil? Isn't there a part of you that's been taught that you need to have the desire to be great? Hasn't it been a part of you that's been taught that the desire for physical things and physical desires are somehow a blot on the physical, spiritual path? So, have you ever felt afraid at times? The welling up of desire within you? Have you ever been afraid of your desire? Have you ever been afraid of your desire welling up inside of you? Because as I look upon your plane, there are many who become paralyzed with fear just because they have a desire for a bowl of ice cream. There are some people that get upset with themselves or feel bad because they have the desire for some ice cream. There are some people that are so afraid that if they give in to the desire for just ice cream, that there's something in the ice cream, that's going to cause their bodies to bloat and get fat, and it's going to make their brain cease functioning. There's some people that are terrified just to have a bowl of ice cream, because if they think they have the bowl of ice cream, somehow or another it's not going to be good for them. There's some people that's terrified of just giving themselves a bowl of ice cream or a candy bar. For those of you in intimate relationships, marriage or some kind of commitment, how many of you haven't carried the belief taught to you by the world that if you feel an energy of desire welling up within you when you look at someone who's not your partner, that somehow you've sinned against God? Haven't you learned that if you feel a passion and a desire for somebody else other than your partner, that you have somehow created some type of wrong or some type of sin? Have you been taught that if you feel any kind of desire for anybody else other than your primary partner, that somehow you're doing something wrong? How many of you don't know the experience of trying to rein in the 10,000 horses so sure that if you give in to the feeling of desire, that everything will run amok? Is there a part of you that feels like you have to keep repressing your desires all the time, because if you ever let your desires really be expressed, that you would just run amok? Is there a part of you that's afraid to really feel all of your passion and desire, because if you think if you really let yourself express your passion, you might just do something crazy, you might just run amok, and that your attempt to keep your life structured, your attempt to keep your life rigid, you think that if you let your desires take over, then all the structures you built in your life would collapse. And if you really let your desire out, that all hell would break loose. Is there a part of you that believes that if you really didn't suppress your desires and you really express your desires, all hell would break loose? Is there a part of you that feels like you have to repress your desires, or you might do something wrong, that you got to repress your desires, or you'll somehow mess up your life and all the structures that you've made will somehow collapse? Well, I say to you, would you exist if God had been afraid to create? If God had been afraid to create, would you exist? If the Creator was afraid to create, would you exist? So obviously the Creator isn't afraid to create, or you would not exist. You are here because your Creator had the desire to extend love. You are here because your Creator had a desire to create love and to create love as you. You were created out of God's desire. You were created out of God's desire to create, God's desire to extend love, but God extended love as you, Earl. God extended love as you, mighty companion. Would you be willing to consider that you would not exist if God was afraid to create, and if God didn't have the desire to extend God's self as you, forming you? Now, God did not just form you. Love did not just extend itself as you. The Creator did not just extend itself as you. The Creator also gave you the infinite freedom of choice. So you are created as a living expression of God, and you are also created as an infinite being that has choice. Now, without desire, do you know that without desire, look around, without desire, not only would you see nothing, there would be nothing to do the seeing. Everything is the effect of desire. If you didn't have desire, you wouldn't see anything. If you didn't have desire, you wouldn't be able to do anything. And if you didn't have desire, there would be nothing to do the seeing. Desire is everything. Everything is the result of desire. Everything you see is the result of desire. Everything you feel is the result of a desire. Everything you feel or see is the result of desires. Everything is a desire. Everything is a desire. You are here because you were desired. Something desired you to exist. And not only did something desire you to exist, it also desired for you to exist as love, and it also desired that you exist as an infinite being that has freedom of choice. Without desire, you would see nothing. Without desire, there would be nobody to do the seeing. Desire is everything. Everything is desire. Desire is everything. Everything is desire. So what do I want you to see? I want you to come to see that there's nothing bad about having desires. There's nothing bad about having passionate desires. There is nothing evil about having desire. There is nothing wrong about having desire. There is no need to be afraid of desire. Desire is not to be feared. You are not to fear desire. You are to master desire. Do you know that you are to master desire, but you are not to be afraid of desire? I must not be afraid of my desires. Earl, stop being afraid of your desires. Earl, don't be afraid of your desires. Listen, dude, don't be afraid of your desires. Earl, desire is everything. Desire is everything. Don't be afraid of your desires. Desires are not bad. Desires are good. Don't be afraid of desires. Don't be afraid of desire. You will learn to master desire, but don't be afraid of desire. Mastering something is not controlling it. To be a master does not mean that you are a controller. So your master doesn't really control you. A master doesn't control. A master doesn't control. For control, the need to control is actually an effect of the energy of fear, not love. So does that mean that whenever you want to control somebody, whenever you want to be in control of something, you are afraid. Yes, only a person that's afraid tries to control others. Only a person that's afraid tries to control. So when I talk about mastery, when we talk about the way of mastery, we're not talking about this is the way of controlling. We're not saying this is the way of being controlled. The way of mastery is not the way of controlling. Mastery has nothing to do with controlling. Controlling comes from fear. Mastery of desire. How do you do mastery of desire? Mastery of desire comes when you recognize that you are safe. Mastery of desire comes when you recognize that you are safe to feel whatever wave of desire may come up through your consciousness. Mastery of desire comes from you recognizing that it's safe for you to feel whatever desires you have. Mastery of desire comes from you recognizing that you are safe to feel every desire you have. Mastery of desire. How does mastery of desire happen, Earl? Mastery of desire comes from feeling safe to have any desire you want to have. You master desire by not being afraid to have any kind of desire that you want to desire. You master desire by having any kind of desire you want to have safely. You master desire when you recognize that you are safe to feel any desire that you want to feel. Because you decide whether or not you will act on the desire. So why is it safe for me to, okay, let me hear this. Okay, it's safe for me to have any kind of desire I want to have because I still have a choice about whether or not I act on that desire. So having a desire is not the same as acting on the desire. That's why it's safe for you to have any kind of desire that you want to have. The reason why it's safe for you to have any kind of desire you want to have is because you're the one that's going to decide whether you're going to do the desire. It's safe to have any kind of desire that you want to have because in the end it's going to be you that decides whether or not you are going to act on the desire. So having a desire and acting on a desire is two different things. So in order for you to really feel good and master desires, you have to, number one, know that it's safe for you to have any kind of desire you want to have. It's safe for you to have any kind of desire that you want to have. The reason why it's safe for you to have any kind of desire you want to have is because you're the one that's going to decide whether or not you act on that desire, whether or not you're going to bring that desire into physical manifestation. So having a desire doesn't mean that that desire is going to be physically materialized. First you have a desire, then you decide whether or not you're going to act on the desire, and then that's what determines whether or not it's going to be physically materialized. So a desire has one intervening point, and that intervening point is you deciding whether or not you're going to act on the desire. I have the desire to go to a movie, then I decide whether or not I'm going to act on the desire to go to the movie. And if I do act on the desire to go to the movie, then I end up in the physical movie watching the movie. But because I had the desire to go to a movie did not necessarily mean I was going to have the physical experience of going to the movie. So I don't have to be afraid of having the desire to go to a movie because it's still up to me whether or not I go to the movie. So it's safe for you to have any kind of desire you want to have. That's how you master desire. It's safe for you to have any kind of desire that you want to have because it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to act on it and make it a physical manifestation. So what is the one power that can never be taken away from you? What is the one power that no one can ever take away from you? The one power that no one can ever take away from you is the power of choice, your power to choose. No one can take away your power of decision, which is the same as saying your power to choose, because a choice is a decision. No one can take away your power of decision. No one can take away your power to choose. It is impossible for anyone or anything to take away your power of decision, your power to choose. You already have perfect mastery of your power to choose, because nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it. I know that's a loaded, powerful sentence, but just take a breath and let yourself hear it, even if it brings up resistance. You are already a master of choice, because everything you experience, every single thing that you experience, comes to you because of your decision to allow it into the field of manifestation. What? Nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it into the field of manifestation. Nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it into the field of manifestation. Nothing you ever experience comes into, nothing I've ever experienced has ever come to me without me allowing it into the field of manifestation. Nothing that's ever happened to me has ever come to me without me making the decision and the choice to allow it to come into physical manifestation. Every single thing that has ever happened in my experience because I allowed it to come into my field of manifestation. I already have the power of choice. I already have the power of decision. I've already mastered the power of choice. I've already mastered the power of decision, because nothing happens in my experience that I did not decide to have happen in my experience. The power of choice is the one thing that no one can ever take away from you. Do you know that you are already a master of the power of choice? That's because nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it into physical manifestation. Inside of my mind right now, I'm hearing so many yes buts. Yes, but. Yes, but. I hear what you're saying, but. I hear what you're saying, but. Yes, but. I hear you. Yes, but. Yes, but. There's a part of my mind that when I hear that nothing I ever experience comes to me without my decision to allow it, then stuff. Well, Earl, you mean that bicycle accident that you had when you were 10 years old that severed your Achilles heel? That was something that you allowed through your decision at some level into the field of manifestation? According to this, nothing I ever experienced comes to me without my decision to allow it into the field of manifestation. It didn't say everything but what happened to you when you were 10 years old. Okay, so I don't necessarily have to believe this. I don't necessarily have to accept this. I don't necessarily have to welcome this, but that doesn't mean it's not true. So I could either spend a lot of time debating with this or arguing with this, or I could go, okay, whether I believe it or not, whether I understand it or not, whether or not I agree with it or not, I'm going to just say it. I'm a master of choice, because nothing I ever experienced comes to me without my decision to allow it into the field of manifestation. I'm going to say it for you too. You are a master. You are a master of choice. You have the power of choice. Nothing can ever take the power of choosing away from you. You have already mastered the power of choosing. You're already so good at the power of choosing that nothing you ever experience comes into your, nothing you ever experience comes to you. You're such a master of decision that nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it into the field of manifestation.
Every thought we think, every word we speak is creating our future.
You know my soul is singing. You know my soul is singing. For freedom. Do you make it your own? Do you follow your heart? Yeah. This moment is your home. Do you see love all around you? And let compassion fill your soul. And feeling all of your sensations. We are free and we are whole. And so our thoughts create our freedom. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Rock with me, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or do you love to suffer? Are you comfortable with pain? We'll try living in the flow, in the state of well-being. And don't you worry about tomorrow. You just stay in the now. All is good if you can see it. It all works out somehow. So our thoughts create our freedom. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Rock with me, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All of us are on a journey. Love and appreciate who you
Desire
are.
is
We have
everything.
divine magnificent
Everything is
expression of
desire.
love. The universe loves
Desire
gratitude.
is
The more grateful you
everything,
are,
and
the more
everything
you have to
is
bring.
desire.
Does your intuition guide you?
Does your intuition guide
Do
you?
you lay awake at night?
Or do you lay awake at night?
Do you believe in the power?
Do you believe in the power?
Cause you know it's your birthright.
Because you know it's your birthright.
And in your moments of confusion,
And in your moments of confusion,
you can't find the way.
when you cannot find the way,
There's an answer deep inside you.
there's an answer deep inside you
Put you back in harmony.
that will put you back in harmony.
So our thoughts create our freedom. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Rock with me, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Rock with me, baby. Yeah. Freedom. Rock with me, baby. Rock with me, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Freedom.
Rock with me, baby. Rock with me, baby. Desire is everything, and everything is desire.
You know my soul is singing. You know my soul is singing for
Thank you. So wonderful. Thank you.
So what is desire? It says, desire is something that wells up from the depth beyond yourself, and desire can be looked at with perfect innocence. You can look at desire with the wonder of a child. The very act of turning to allow and welcome desire is not something that will sidetrack you from the path of awakening. To welcome desire, to allow desire will not sidetrack you on your spiritual quest. Allowing desire and welcoming desire will not sidetrack you. Feeling desire, having desire will not sidetrack you from the path of awakening. Having desire will take you vertically into the heart of God. Allowing yourself to feel desire, Earl, welcoming desire, allowing yourself to feel desire, mighty companion, allowing yourself to feel desire, welcoming desire will take you vertically into the heart of God. Because if you are to ever create, if you're ever going to create the way God creates, Earl, if you're ever going to create the way God creates, you will need to heal your conflicted perceptions about desire. If you're ever going to create like God creates, you've got to get rid of your conflicted beliefs about desire. If you're ever going to create like love creates, if you're ever going to create like love creates, if you're ever going to create like love creates, you will need to heal your conflicted perceptions about desire. If you're ever going to create the way God creates, you've got to get a correct perception of desire. You must get a correct perception of desire if you're ever going to be a creator, if you're ever going to be a creator, if you're ever going to be a real creator, if you're ever going to be a powerful creator, you need to heal your conflicted perceptions about desire. In other words, you will need to transcend the energy of feeling afraid of your desires. Stop feeling afraid of your desires. Stop feeling afraid of your desires. Stop suppressing your desires. Stop suppressing your desires. Stop repressing your desires. Stop being in denial about what you really desire. Stop telling yourself you desire something that you don't really desire. Be honest with yourself about your desires. Welcome your desires. Do not block your desires. It's safe for you to feel your desires. That's right, Shahira. You were born with the gift of desire. That's right. We are here to feel desire. Welcome your 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 desires. There are many who call upon me and pray. There are many people that call upon Jesus or other spiritual masters and pray. There is not an hour in your time frame in which there are not many upon your plane, somewhere on your planet, who are praying to me and want their hearts to be filled with Christ. There's always somebody praying to Jesus or some other spiritual master all the time. And at the very same time, these people are praying to Jesus and praying to other spiritual masters and wanting their hearts to be filled with Christ or love or God. They are at the very same time, they are scared to death of an energy that wants to move. Do you know that we've got to stop being scared to death of the energy that moves us? It's time to stop being afraid of the energies that move me. It is time for me to stop being afraid of the desires that move me. It is time for you to stop being afraid of the desires that move you, because you have been taught to fear and suppress desire. And it is your desires that move you. Okay, so what is desire? What's another incredible definition of desire? Don't forget to keep communicating with each other. Right. You won't be repressed. You won't be repressed. Desire is like the liquid of life that moves through the stem of the rose and allows the petals to radiate with glorious color. So what happens when you block? What happens when you block the flow of your desire? What is it that happens when you block the flow of desire? Well, the petals of your being cannot be nourished. Why does death begin to occur? Death begins to occur because you are blocking the flow of desire. Death begins to occur. Death of the heart, death of the soul, and lifelessness happens when you block the flow of your desire. Stop blocking the flow of your desire. Stop being afraid after you pray and then desires and inspirations start to happen inside of you. Don't suppress them. Don't block them. If you were to walk down one of the streets, if you were to walk down one of the streets in your city and truly look into the eyes of everybody you see, wouldn't you recognize that death seems to have already made a home in the minds of many that are living? As you walk down the street and you look into the eyes of many people, doesn't it look like they're already kind of dead? you know what I mean? When you look into some people's eyes, you can tell nobody's at home, that it looks kind of dead. Death of dreams, death of hope, death of worthiness, death of playfulness, death of true power, and death of union with our source and creator, they've already happened. They've already taken place. Everybody that's listening to these words has had the experience of seeing death in another person's eyes. So what does healing require? What does a healing require? It says healing requires the willingness to feel desire. So how do you increase your willingness to feel desire, Earl? How do you increase your willingness to feel desire? You see it as good. You see desire as good and holy. It is good and holy for you to have desire. It is good and holy for you to have passionate, throbbing, intense desire. It is perfectly okay. It is beautiful. It is fine. It is holy to feel burning desire. Does that not mean that if you feel a desire that it might not become twisted by the egoic patterns in your mind? Of course your ego can try to get hold to your desires and cause you harm through your desires. There's always the possibility that desire will be twisted to meet the needs of your ego and your fear inside of you. But rest assured, if the ego, your fear, does take over with your desire, who's done it? If my ego takes over, who's the one that let my ego take over? If my fear takes over, if my distorted, twisted, guilty mind starts to try to take over my desire, who is it that's letting that part of me take over? You. If your ego takes over, you are the one that let your ego take over. Your ego can't ever take over. Your fear can't just take over. Your desire to hurt yourself and cause guilt and pain for yourself because of your desires, that doesn't just happen to you. It doesn't just grab you. Your desires don't make you do anything. Your desires wait for your choice as to whether or not you're going to act on the desire. So it's you. Always within you, you have known the desire, that desire is good. You've always known that desire is good, but you've suppressed your desire. Even though you know desire is good, you have suppressed your desire. And don't forget that this lesson it's called Desire is Everything. The purpose of this lesson is to give us the correct perception of desire so that we can have what we desire. The purpose of this session is to give you the correct perception of desire so that you can have what you desire. This is a very important section. So what does the way of mastery say? Always within you, you have known that desire is good, but you've suppressed it. Those times when desire came forth and you let desire become twisted into serving the goals of the ego, your fear, those times that you let your desire serve the goals of your ego, you always knew perfectly well what you were doing. Every time you've ever used your desires to hurt yourself, you knew what you were doing. Every time you did something opposite to what you knew in your heart and what felt like a good desire, you knew what you were doing. Earl, there's never been a time that you twisted your desires in any way that seemed to cause you pain, that you didn't know what you were doing. You've always known what you were doing. Every time you had a desire and you used it to cause you any kind of pain, you knew exactly what you were doing. Every time you've ever used a desire and twisted that desire and used that desire in such a way that it causes you pain and it caused you pain, you knew exactly what you were doing. That means you were the decision maker, which means you have learned, therefore, to fear desire, because that fear is the effect of fearing yourself, and that is what cripples you. What is it that cripples you? Being afraid of yourself, because how you have used your desires in the past. Earl, you are afraid of yourself, and that cripples you because your fear of how you use your desires in the past. Mighty companion, to fear desire is you fearing yourself. And you are only fearing yourself because of the way you use your desires through your ego, through your fear in the past. That's what's cutting off your creative flow. That's what leads to everything your world knows as the multitude of psychological diseases, which is what? Your unwillingness to trust yourself. So what cuts off your creative flow, what blocks your creative flow, is that there's a part of you that is afraid of what you will do with your desires. The part of you that's afraid of what you will do with your desires because of the way you used your desires in the past has you being afraid of yourself. And because you are afraid of yourself, you are crippling yourself. And you are crippling yourself because you are cutting off your creative flow. And that's what causes psychological illnesses and diseases. It comes from an unwillingness to trust yourself, an unwillingness to love yourself, and the belief that the desires that come up from your being are evil. Stop thinking that your desires are evil. Believing that your desires are evil, that will keep you from loving yourself. Believing your desires are bad or sinful or evil will keep you from trusting yourself, and this will block your creative flow, and it will cripple you and make you feel afraid of yourself. That's what happens when you are afraid of your passionate, burning desires. So what is it that you think? Well, there's a part of you, Earl, that thinks that you could stamp out your desires. If somehow or another you could get rid of your desires, then you could remain in control, and everybody would like you because you could conform to the smallness and the littleness that human beings worship. If you could just stamp out your desires, then you could remain in control, and everybody would like you. If I could get rid of my desires to express my true individuality and who I really am, then everybody would like me, and I could conform. But what would I conform to? I would conform to the smallness and the littleness that human minds seem to worship. So I want you to understand well the next axiom that we're going to give to you. The next axiom we're going to give to you. And listen to me carefully. The only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God. The only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God. The only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God. The only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God. The only relationship, the only relationship, the only relationship, did I say the only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God, your creative source. The only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with your creative source. The only relationship that has any value at all is your relationship with your creative source. The only relationship that has any value is your relationship with the creative source, the depth of the ocean. So right away, when you hear something like the only relationship that has any value is my relationship with God. The only relationship that's valuable is my relationship with God. The only relationship that's valuable is my relationship with my creative source. The only relationship that has any real value is my relationship with God. The only relationship that has any value is your relationship with God. Earl, The only relationship that has any value is your relationship with the creative source. The only, I said only, the only relationship that has any value is your relationship with God. So right away your mind is probably going to say, but what about my relationship with my mate? What about my relationship with my parents? What about my relationship with my children? What about the president of the United States? What about the postmaster? Your mind will come up with a million examples of relationships that surely must seem like they're important. When I say the only relationship that has any value is your relationship with God, there's a part of the mind that's going to say, but what about my relationship with my parents? What about my relationships with my lover? What about my relationships with my friends? What about my relationships with my classmates, my workmates? What about my relationships with my relatives? What about my relationships with the world at large? When you hear the statement, the only relationship that has any value at all is your relationship with God, there will be a part of the mind that will probably come up and say, what about my other relationships? So would you like to hear the truth one more time? Earl, would you like to hear the truth one more time? Mighty companion, would you like to hear the truth one more time? The only relationship that holds value is your relationship with God. I will repeat. The only relationship that holds value is your relationship with God. Why? Why is it that the only relationship that has any value is the relationship with God? Because when your relationship with God is in alignment, when you are in alignment with your relationship with God, all your creations, all your choices for relationships, and how you will be within your relationships will flow effortlessly from that alignment with God. Everything that you want, peace and harmony in everything that you want, will come from the alignment of your relationship with God, the alignment of your relationship with your creative source. All of the relationships that you will really enjoy, all of the relationships that will be effortless for you, all the relationships that will be fun and harmonious for you, all the relationships that have any kind of value, those relationships are going to come out of that alignment. Everything that you want is going to come out of your alignment with your creative source. Everything that you want is going to come out of your alignment with God. And out of that alignment, your creations, your choices for relationships, how you will be within your relationships, that's going to flow effortlessly, and it's going to flow from that alignment with God. Therefore, what should you seek? If you really want to really get this, what should you seek? The first thing you should seek is the kingdom of God. And all these things will be added to you. Seek the truth and everything else will be given to you. Seek God and everything else that you want will be given unto you is the promise. That means don't try to create a rose by starting with the petals. You start with the roots. You have to nourish your roots. And that's when your flower is going to blossom. So if you're going to be in right relationship with your Creator, would you like to know what you need to be aware of? If you're going to be in right relationship with your Creator, what is it, Earl, that you need to be aware of if you're going to be in right relationship with your Creator? Well, you need to know that it's absolutely necessary to correct your perception. If you're going to be in right relationship with God, it's necessary for you to start seeing things correctly. If you're going to be in the right relationship with love, if you're going to be in a right relationship with love, it's important that you correct your perception and correct your relationship with the energy of desire. If you're going to be in right relationship with your Creator, do you know what you need to do? If you're going to be in right relationship with God, it's necessary for you to correct your perception of desire. It's going to be important that you correct your perception of desire. Learn how to welcome desire. Learn how no longer to be afraid of your desires. If you're going to be in right relationship with your Creator, it's absolutely necessary for you to correct your perception of desire. So how do you correct your perception of desire? How do you correct your perception of desire? Well, it begins by releasing your judgments of your desires in all its forms. Stop judging your desires as bad. Stop judging your desires as bad. Stop judging your desires as something that you need to be afraid of, because you don't have to be afraid of your desires. Why is it that you don't have to be afraid of your desires? Because you're the one who's going to decide whether or not you act on the desire. So you're the one that decides whether or not the desire comes into physical manifestation. And since you're the one that decides whether or not the desire is going to manifest, then there's no need to be afraid of the desire, because the desire ain't going to happen unless you want it to. So the only desires that do happen are the ones that you want to happen. And when you've desired things and you did not desire them from love, then you created experiences that caused you so much pain that you became afraid of desire. But that was just because you didn't take responsibility for whether or not you would act on the desire. But all desires are good. None of your desires have to hurt you. So how do you become a creator? How do you get in right relationship? How do you get in right relationship with God? It's necessary for you to correct your perception. What does the Way of Mastery in A Course in Miracles and A Course of Love and other wisdom texts do? Other wisdom texts correct your perception of desire. They correct your perception. And how do you correct your perception of desire? You stop judging your desires. Stop judging your desires in a negative way. You can only be in love or fear. You're either feeling love for me right now, or you are afraid right now. You're either giving yourself love toward me right now, or you're giving yourself fear about me right now. You're either giving yourself love feelings about me and desires right now, or you're having fear desires. You are either desiring to fear me right now, or you are desiring to love me right now. You are either desiring to love me right now, or you are desiring to fear me right now. You can only be in love or fear. There's only two conditions, love or fear. You can only be in innocence, which is the same as saying you can only be in love, or you can only be in guilt, which is the same as saying you can only be in judgment. But love and innocence are a part of reality. Love and innocence are a part of the kingdom. Reality is full of love and innocence. Reality is full of love and innocence. Love and innocence are the only thing that's ultimately real. Desire that is linked to love and innocence, that's the desire that will take you everywhere you could possibly want to go in happiness and joy. Fear and judgment are of illusion. So fear and judgment, any desire that you have that comes from fear and judgment will always lead to fear and judgment, which is an illusion, which is nothing. So fear desires that come from fear always produce things that does not last, because only love is real, so only love can last. Any desire that you have that comes from guilt, any desire that you have that comes from guilt, judgment, or anger, or separation, anything that manifests out of those desires will always end, because anything you create out of love, separation, anger, attack, and judgment, they are not eternal. They're not eternal because only love is eternal, so only love lasts forever. And anything that comes from anything that is not love, by definition, cannot be permanent and will not last. That is a blessing. That is a total blessing to know that any desire that I have that's rooted in fear and judgment produces an illusion. It produces something that's going to be temporary, and it's producing something that's not going to last. Anything that comes from fear, any desire that comes from fear, any desire that comes from judgment, that's a fear. That thing that comes from judgment, that thing that comes from anger or fear, desires, those things are illusion, which means they do not last. That's all it means when I say it is an illusion. It is not love. Only love and innocence and joy will last forever. But I'm talking about real joy, real love, real innocence that's coming from a desire that you are not afraid to have, and a desire that you welcome in total innocence. That desire is going to manifest something that is unbelievably happy and joyful for you, because you're going to be in alignment with God. Because being in alignment with God means that you have corrected your perception of desire, and you know it's okay, it's beautiful to have desire, because everything is desire, and desire is everything. All right. Whoa, that was so good. And we're going to have a completion here in a minute, so hang around just a few more minutes. That was really good. The responses and comments that you were making were awesome, and they were off the chain. And when I finish doing the session, I go back through the comments and make sure I read everything that you've written. So I would love that if you find my teaching ministry helpful to you and you are led by Spirit, please go to my website. If you'd like to share a financial expression of appreciation to support my teaching ministry, go to earlpurdy.com. I also work with people on a one-on-one. I've done this for over 30 years, and if I would love to work with you to make this practical and show you how you can take this into your everyday life or in a situation that you're dealing with right now, and heal it and have another way of looking at it. And I also use my knowledge of astrology and numerology, which is powerful, as an additional way of receiving information to share with you for those who are open to it. All right? I'm here for you. It's called a clarity session. And please sign up for my contact list. It's called a clarity session. On my website, it shares all the services that I provide. The music that you're hearing is from an incredible singer that's a friend of mine named Reverend Yolanda, Yolanda. So go to yolanda.net if you'd like to get the music, yolanda.net. And the Way of Mastery, you can find out more through going to shantechristos.com. I have all that written on the title of the video. So it's all this information is available. I am so hot right now. I am pulsating and sweating. And the statement that you want to keep in mind is that desire is everything, and everything is desire. Desire is everything, and everything is desire. So we're going to focus in on it. Thank you, those of you who are here live, connecting with me. I feel that energy, and you connecting with each other. That's awesome. And listen back to this many times in order to get the power of it. Listen to it many times. Let's see what I want.
I'd like to share with you one of my...
Let's see what we got, what I want to hear. Here we go. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do a course of love. On Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do a course in miracles. I love you. Let's say our thought. Don't forget, everything, desire is everything. Desire is everything. Desire is everything. Desire is everything.
Companion now. God is, my constant companion now. God is. Well, today is a brand new day to look at life in a different way. God is. Today is a brand new day to look at life in a different way. God is. Because God is.
The only relationship that has meaning is your relationship with God. relationship with God. My only relationship that has meaning is my relationship with God. The only relationship that has value is my relationship with God. Is my relationship with God. I will not value the valueless. 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 Desire is safe. Desire is safe. Desire is good and 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 desire is safe. Desire is everything. 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 The only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God. Don't you forget now, the only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with God. Is your relationship with God. Your relationship with God is the only relationship that holds any value at all. Is your relationship with God. I say the only relationship that really has value. It's the only relationship that really has value. It's the only relationship that really has value. The only relationship that really has value. I desire love. I desire joy. I desire joy. The only relationship that has value is my relationship with God. The only relationship that has value is your relationship with God. Hear me now, the only relationship that has value is your relationship with God. What? I say the only relationship that has value is my relationship with God. I tell you now, the only relationship that has value is my relationship with God. Yeah, I say the only relationship that has value is your relationship with God. The only relationship that has value is your relationship with God. The only relationship that has value is your relationship with God. My companions, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I see you. Don't be afraid of your desires. Desire is everything. See you next time.